The following is a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about them Cowboys? Yeah!
Go Cowboys!
Let's go, baby!
Are you ready for a break?
Yes.
Are you ready for a break?
Absolutely.
Ready for a break?
Yeah, and so much for that.
It's time for The Break on DallasCowboys.com
We were on the break!
with Ambar Garcia, Bryan Broaddus, Nick Harris, and Derek Eagleton.
It is Wednesday, January 22nd, 2025, Season 20, Episode number 100. Welcome to the latest edition of The Break. We are live from SWBC Mortgage Studios at the Star, presented by LG. LG is the world's #1 OLED TV brand for 11 years and counting. See why at LG.com/OLED Evo. 100 episodes in. Brian still hasn't figured out the chair, but that's okay.
Working on it, boss.
We'll keep working on that.
I mean, I've been working for you for about 14 years, and this chair never works.
Yeah, maybe at some point we'll just say it's the chair and we need to get you a new chair.
Exactly. We're good, man.
Speaking of chairs, someone got rid of our chairs at training camp years ago out of nowhere.
What?
Remember that we took the chairs we had back at Valley Ranch?
Yeah.
And we shipped them out on the truck.
Well, I had
the comfortable chairs, and then we decided to leave them out there for storage, and then we got them back the next year, and then all of a sudden, 2 years after, we never found them.
Never found the chairs again?
No.
I started bringing my own chair. Bucky and Mike were nice enough to let me pack a chair.
For camp?
For camp.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was your big leather chair.
I had my leather chair, yeah. Now, she's right, though. Amber and I,
He got me to take my chair as well, because those chairs at training camp are really uncomfortable.
Yeah, I have the video of the last day at Valley Ranch, like when we closed the door and turned off the lights, that kind of thing. And yeah, I miss that chair. There's probably somebody.
I do too.
There's probably somebody in Oxnard there that has that chair that's probably sitting back right now listening to our broadcast.
Nick and I don't worry about that. We're just out there grinding, just fighting for our lives. That's just what we do.
Oh no, we were always fighting for your lives.
I remember the old T-shirts, right?
Do you still have yours?
I do still have mine. I had it on the other day.
I wear it every once in a while. So he goes, "What does this mean?" And I go, "You really don't want to know."
Yeah, you don't want to.
You really don't wanna know.
You really don't want to know. That was before your time, though, Nick. That was before your time. Sometimes I forget you weren't around for some of the good old days.
Oh my God, Jason Garrett.
Yeah.
He used to come up with some interesting slogans for the season and acronyms and stuff that were very interesting.
Yeah. So we can't with one of our own. We'll tell you the story later.
Very nice.
We'll tell you that.
All right, so here's what we're going to do today.
Derek did a really smart thing, not requiring us to go to that big meeting that they had that Jason brought us all in. I'm just like, hey, boss, this is a bad idea, man. This guy's giving the rah-rah speech, and I'm about to tell him he can't coach a lick.
Yeah. Sometimes we do have to politely decline. Thank you, but no.
Derek said, thank you very much. We'll catch you down the road.
No, what I said was I will go for the group. You guys just do
exactly.
I'll go and represent our group.
You were a great boss. No question.
All right, let's talk. Here's what we got to talk about today. We got to talk about the coaching search. More has happened since last week when we met. We'll spend a little time on that. In the second segment, and maybe even the third segment, I have some questions for you guys. It's really our season in review. Yeah. I'm going to take you guys into some questions about how the season played out and some different thoughts you may have on different things that happened and how they affected this team and how we ultimately ended up where we ended up at 7-10. But let's start first with the coaching search. At this point, they have interviewed Kellen Moore, Robert Saleh, Leslie Frazier, and Brian Schottenheimer. Let's go through each of them. And what I'd like you to do, I'm going to give you a name, and I want you to tell me what you like about the candidate and what you don't. And I wouldn't even say don't like about the candidate, but what concerns you most about the candidate. All right? So let's start first with Kellen Moore. What do you like about him? What concerns you most about him?
I think
as a head coach, let's say.
Yeah. I think innovative as an offensive play caller. I say innovative in the sense that his offenses have been changing from year to year. He would be the youngest head coach in the NFL at 36 years old. I think there's still a lot of growth to have in his game. Now, granted, growth could also be a negative, and it's going to be part of my negative is the fact that you don't have an established head coach in Kellen Moore. There were concerns whenever he left here about, does he have the presence to be a head coach? That would definitely be something he would have to answer as well.
I think the presence is the biggest problem for me. And I don't mean that in a way to be mean. Maybe I'm from a different era of football where when guys stand up in front of me, I have to believe, and sell me on why I should follow you. Sell me why I should, sacrifice everything for the next 10 months to follow you. and some people have that ability to do. There's been some great leaders that have been terrible head coaches. There's been some terrible leaders that have been really good head coaches, quiet guys. There's Tony Dungy's of the world. Tom Landry here, very quiet, except when he got into a meeting, then he would get on his players. So, but to me, man, I think in this day and age, when I gravitate more towards the Dan Campbell line of thinking than I do the Tony Dungy line of thinking. So to me, that would be a negative to me as far as the presence of of the stature of the guy standing in front. Can you make me follow you? I don't know if he can make me follow him.
Do you have a positive, one thing that you would think, hey, that would be an actual advantage to Cowboys hiring him?
I think the fact that he spent a lot of his career here as a coach would help. I think that
he gets it.
He understands there are things that are involved. He understands there's .com. He understands there's Blue Star this, Blue Star that. He understands there's tours. He understands there's a cafeteria. He knows where the locker room is. He knows where the coach's office is. He knows that the sun shines through the windows sometimes at 3:25 in the afternoon on a Sunday. Mm-hmm. So, but he understands all that.
He knows all that.
He knows all that. That's an advantage for him.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree. That's an advantage for sure, the familiarity of it all, as well as him being a player. He was a player here before, so he's been on that side as well. And I think he's a very smart guy. He understands the game, but I'm completely with you, Brian, on this personally. And as someone who is quiet myself, I'm not like a bubbly personality that goes around.
Really?
I'm not. You don't see me walking into a room and throwing the. Shut up. You know what?
Oh God, here we go.
You guys suck.
Here we go.
Y'all
Here we go.
suck.
Bubble burst.
Right.
Yeah, but yeah.
Wow.
Anyways, as a quiet person myself, in the general speaking public environment, Kellen, I've been around him. I've seen him. I just don't think he has a personality to stand up in a room and be that type of leader that would want to make you go follow him and get you hype and pump. And you want somebody that draws attention when they walk into a room with their power presence. And he doesn't give me that.
Let me ask you guys. I want to challenge that a little bit because I kind of agree with you, but I at least want to think about it a little differently. In my opinion, I think leadership really comes down to relationships. I think it is the ability to be able to connect with people, and if you can connect with people, then you can ultimately motivate them. And by the way, you have to be able to show them how your presence in their life makes their life better, right? Ultimately, and that means their professional life. Is that less about how you present and more about how you connect with this person when you sit down with them, when you have time to interact with them, about them believing this guy is who he says he is, and I trust that he can get me where I'm trying to go?
See, this is the positive that I was going to give about Schottenheimer. Exactly what you're saying about, about his ability to connect with people.
Yeah.
I think that's a huge positive for him. I think that's why he has a shot for this job. I agree with you. There are people like that, that have that ability. I just, to me, I see a guy that it would be, I would say if Kellen Moore tried to give up like a rah-rah speech to me to kind of get me to leave, I would take it as being phony.
Yeah,
I would take it as not being. And the last thing I want to do is follow somebody that's phony. If he stands up there, but if he's a person that, if he can, he might connect with a lot of people. I'm just saying, for me personally, he really wouldn't connect for me. I can't. I've one of my favorite things. I was terrible in school, but I loved history. Mm-hmm. I loved wartime history. I loved generals. I loved studying these guys and what the different. And there were certain that were fiery, and then there were others that were very calm in the way they demean, and that's the way they lead. I would have gravitated towards the fiery guys, and so that's to me. I don't mean it as a slam to Kellen. I just don't. I don't know how many guys would follow that. And this is. And I hope this doesn't sound terrible, but there's a lot of our players nowadays come from broken families, and I'm taking this in a way of maybe a dad not in the picture, but a very strong mom. And they look to some of these guys that stand up there as coaches as leaders, as people in their lives that give them direction and give them hope and give them focus. And, because they haven't maybe had a male figure in their life all their time. So to me, I think our players, a lot of these guys understand that kind of coaching, that hard coaching, that, and I say hard, but I mean, hey, come on, let's go. Hey, grab you. Come on, man. Come on, you're with me today. Come on. That kind of thing. And so I tend to think that this generation that we have now looks to that guy. They look to a strong personality, a strong person standing in front of them, as opposed to maybe a person that doesn't come off that way, because they're looking for that in their life.
In that way, is it?
I hope I didn't mess that up.
Here's my question though. In that way, is it more about the presence that they command? Like when they walk in the room, they're immediately noticed, as Amber says, because I don't know if that always necessarily translates.
But it's like if you're in a room, let's say with Jerry Jones, other people, is your voice going to be heard? Are you going to fight for what you believe is true, or are you going to be submissive to what other people are saying? Like, I want somebody that is vocal and feel comfortable to be vocal, but not allow themselves to be walked all over.
Yeah. I get
so
that.
That's basically
and that's my question then from a standpoint of Kellen. I don't know enough about Kellen to know that he's that person or not. What I can see is, I agree with you. I don't think that when you look at him, you don't automatically assume that he is the type that immediately commands respect when you see him walk in a room. Yeah. I think he just blends in with everybody else. There are some people that walk in a room and immediately everybody notices who they are. Typically that's about size and
Reggie White. White. When Reggie White came in a room, when I was sitting in a room, I literally took a breath.
Because he's massive.
I mean, but the personality, and his faith and all, I mean, everything that he said was, if he's talking about, hey, we need to do this and we need to do this. And you're like, yes, Reverend. Yes, Reverend. Yes, Reverend. Yes, Reverend. Yes, Reverend. That's how you followed him. But when he came into a room, and like Amber's right, first time I ever met Jerry Jones, he comes into a room and you're just like, wow. That's Jerry Jones.
So let me challenge it further. Does a person like Sean McVay have that?
I think players trust Sean McVay because of his age. What
do you mean by that?
I think they trust him because they feel like, when Sean is a young guy, players are young guys. Yeah. I think that Sean McVay can relate more to players today. With his
because of his age.
Okay. But see, and I'll give Kellen Moore credit because of his age, he can relate. That's a plus. Yeah. But when you said Sean McVay, I think that Sean McVay's personality leads to that of a, like stretching lines. Yeah. He's coming up, he's needling you about something.
He has the personality. Magnetic personality.
Yeah, he's not standing up in front watching the whistles being blown and, all right, turn it, and he's looking at his play sheet thinking of what practice. Sean McVay might be walking around going in between the group. John Gruden, when he was a young coach, John Gruden did the same thing. I watched John go in between the players and talking to him about that. Now, on the other end of it, I've seen Nick Saban, 70 years old, needling his players. But I think with McVay, there's a trust with the players because he's closer to their age.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
One counterpoint I'd like to bring up is the fact that Kellen Moore has a lot of experience commanding a huddle. And that could go back to high school days, going back to college.
He's a winner. The guy's a winner.
Yeah, at the time of him leaving Boise State, he was the winningest starting quarterback in NCAA history.
Winner.
I would say he's the guy that put Boise on the map because before him, I don't know that Boise was a national team that people really thought about in that way. I mean, just in my opinion.
Yeah. Won a lot of games.
Yeah.
That and the blue turf.
Yeah,
definitely.
I'm trying to think if the Oklahoma Fiesta Bowl was before he got there. I think it was 06.
Was it?
I think it may have
before
been.
he got there.
I thought he did the Statue of Liberty. I thought he handed it back.
I thought so. I could be wrong. No, I could be. My timing is all very off. But again, what I'm hearing from you, Brian, though, is that it really is then more about can you create relationships? Because what you say of McVay is McVay knows how to individualize his coaching. So as he walks around that field, this one guy, he knows I can needle him about this. Or this other guy, hey man, how's it going? You just had a baby. How's the baby? Like he knows how to connect with people on a personal level. That's what makes him a great leader.
He portrays more confidence. even and this is something I'm a very visual person, and I talk a lot about like the physical and like the psychology and the movements of people. When you see him walk, he has a certain step to his walk that portrays a certain type of power / confidence. You want somebody that walks in with confidence. Again, this is not a shot at Kellen Moore, because if anything, I relate more with Kellen Moore and his personality. I feel like I'm in the same boat as him. But one thing is leading a huddle, another thing is leading a whole team. And again, being in the room with other powerful people, is your voice gonna be heard the way it needs to be heard?
It was
That's
06, by the way.
It was 06?
Boise, and then Kellen came in 08. But.
Oh, okay. So he was there after the okay, yeah. So I guess it jumped on the map that year. He jumped on the map.
Yeah. But Kellen definitely cemented the map.
Yeah.
He won 53 games. Did he win?
He played 53 games. I don't know.
I think it was 53 wins that he had. But yeah, to Amber's point, this is why I think that
50-3.
50-3.
Yep.
This is why I think that Schottenheimer has got a real shot, because if you remember where he came in, he was like, he took over he was the defensive assistant. I mean, he was like helping the defensive coaches. He was the Ben McAdoo coach, on staff. So, the defensive players, I remember defensive players talking about him like, man, this guy's in your face all the time. Like, hey, you got to watch this, man. This week they're going to do this, when they get in trips formation. And the defensive guys really respected him for how hard that he worked. And how and you're right about the relationships. I just feel like, though, that's one of the strengths when you get to, Brian Schottenheimer. Why I think he could get this job is exactly what you just said, the relationships.
I really think I think it's underestimated in the opinions of fans when they start talking about coaches that they'd like to see coach their team. I think what's really not talked about enough is the fact that being a head coach is really about getting all these men to get on the same page and stay on the same page. Yeah. And I can tell you from managing about 40-something people in our group, the hardest thing you have to do is make sure you keep everybody focused on the right things. And by the way, there's always distractions. This person over here has a little distraction. And when they have a little distraction, it may change what they're doing. And then this person over here sees that distraction, and then either do they handle it the right way? Do they go to ask that person if they need help? Or they start gossiping with someone else about this guy being distracted. And now it turns into something else over here. And now you got a faction over here. And now you got to deal with that faction over here. And then the work over here starts to slide. And you got to deal with that. It's all the little fires that you have to put out. That's what being a leader really is. And can you manage a group of people to stay focused on what you need them to be focused on, to minimize all the distractions, minimize all the little things that can pop up, the idiosyncrasies, and to be able to look past all that and say, we've got a common goal. We're going to be focused on that common goal. That has nothing whatsoever to do with X's and O's. By the way, you got coordinators, position coaches that do a lot of that. The head coach's most important job is keeping all those guys together. And it's a more difficult job in football than it is in any other sport because of the sheer volume of players you have. When you go to training camp, you got 90-something players, right? And you got to keep all of them focused on the same thing to get anything done. That, to me, is what the job is. It is not X's and O's, in my opinion. X's and O's is a part of it. That is not the job of an NFL head coach, in my opinion.
If you're bad at X's and O's, you'll notice, though.
You will. And by the way, I think there's a baseline for all of that.
She'll point it out.
No, there's a baseline for all that. You can't say go throw Derek in there to be a head coach. Yeah. Because I think I'm a pretty good leader. I don't know the X's and O's like that.
Right? Your point's absolutely right about keeping everybody on task. But like you say, it's also the delegation of others around them to help you get your message across and keep everybody on task. But I always said, and I never got to the point where I got to hire anybody. But I would always, if I did, I would have said, hire people that are smarter than you. Always try and hire people that are smarter than you. And there's a lot of guys around the league that make mistakes that don't hire the smarter guys, and then they're out of a job in 3 years.
Because they're insecure.
Because they're insecure.
Yeah.
You can't be that way if you're going to be successful in this thing.
All right, we're going to take our first break. We're going to come back. We've got a couple other names we're going to have to throw out. We'll do that when we come right back. This is DallasCowboys.com radio.
Todd thought it would be secure to jog in the cheetah savanna. Todd believed the big cat repellent he bought online was reliable. And now, Todd is trying to be faster than this cheetah that can run 80 miles per hour. But the good news is, Todd has AT&T 5G that is fast, reliable, and secure. And he learned the best thing to do is stop running and toss her the backpack with the beef stew. AT&T 5G. Fast, reliable, secure.
5G requires compatible plan and device. 5G may not be available in your area. See att.com/5G for you for details.
It's the official men's skincare brand of the Dallas Cowboys, Jack Black. And right now, Cowboys fans can get 15% off their $75 order. Plus, because every deal needs a playmaker, your order will include a free 5-piece skincare set and free shipping. The Jack Black Playmaker is 4 of Jack's favorites and a full-sized intense therapy lip balm. Make a play for the playmaker at getjackblack.com/Cowboys with the code CowboysVIP. That's getjackblack.com/Cowboys with the code CowboysVIP.
Don't put off getting your oil changed, Dallas. Take 5 Oil Change, a proud partner of the Cowboys, is faster than you think. They're so fast, you don't even have to get out of your car. You can take advantage of Take 5's stay-in-your-car 10-minute oil change at any of their locations across the Dallas area. And remember, at Take 5, you stay in your car because they're faster than you think. That means you won't even have time to show off your best touchdown celebration. Take 5, the official oil change of the Dallas Cowboys.
From the field to the festivities, Lucchese embodies the essence of luxury and tradition. Handcrafted with meticulous precision, each pair offers unmatched comfort and style. Stand tall while you're tailgating or cheering in the stands with the Dallas Cowboys collection by Lucchese. Shop the collection today at the Lucchese store at the Star in Frisco or online at lucchese.com. Lucchese, the official boot of the Dallas Cowboys and Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders.
How do you tell the world about all the great gifts in the Yeti store? Let her rip, Troy.
All right, folks, let's get started with the Yeti French Press. Enjoy coffee that stays hot for hours in a French press. 34 ounce for you, 6'4" for the cruise. The Yeti French Press. Hot mix waterproof bags. Bags waterproof. Submersible waterproof doubles. Waterproof bags. World's mostly water, so get a waterproof Yeti bag. Do I smell something cooking? Oh, new cast iron skillets made to be passed down like Mama's recipes. Take a steak, cornbread, cobbler's pot pie, and potatoes next oval with 3 sizes of Yeti cast iron skillets.
Gear, gifts, and product experts. Visit the Yeti store on McKinney Street and at South Lake Town Square today.
Back to the break.
LG OLED Evo is the best TV in the game, but don't take our word for it. Digital Trends said that LG OLED G4 has the best picture quality they've ever seen. See it for yourself at lg.com/OLED Evo.
Welcome back. It is the second segment of the break, live from the SWBC Mortgage Studios at the Star. The segment brought to you by blockchain.com. Okay, I'm about to take a detour, and I'm going to take our off-the-air conversation to the air, and I want to hear from fans.
I feel the passion.
No, I
feel it.
I don't think he's wrong.
I want to hear from fans. I want you guys to either call us, hit us on Twitter, whatever. I just want to know, if you were Deion Sanders, because the question came up, Brian said in the break, man, go hire Deion Sanders, right? And I kind of agree with you. I think he would be.
If they're not going to hire Aaron Glenn, hire Deion Sanders.
I kind of agree with you.
Yeah.
But that being said, we both also agree there's no way he wants to coach his son. I mean, he wants to play against his son twice a year.
Potentially,
and a lot of it's saying he's going to go to the Giants. A lot of pre-draft mocks are saying that. And my thought was, there is no way, absolutely no way on God's green earth I would ever set myself up in a position where I have to compete against my child in order for his livelihood. There's no way I would put myself in that situation. I actually, as a parent, care more about my children's success than my own. I will sacrifice my own success for the success of my children. Mm-hmm. So, Amber, on the other hand, was like, screw my son. No. I'll kick his butt at any chance. No, she didn't say that. But she was on the other side of that argument. I'll let you make the argument, but
my argument is it's a game. I get it, but listen. I'm the type of person, I'll feed my child before I get to eat.
Yeah.
And so there's no question about it.
You're a good parent. I know this.
There's no question about it. Your kid goes first. But in something like this, I don't think it's as serious as you denying to take a job where at the end of the day, yes, it's your job and all of it, but we see it. Like, it's a game. And I'm not saying it's just a game, but you have, what is it? It's 18 games. You got, what, 16? 16 other games where you can win.
Well, it'd be 15 because he'd be playing them twice. If he's at the Giants, he'd be paying him twice a year.
Oh, Whoops.
Wow. This
No,
conversation.
We're finding how she really feels.
You see that, Diego?
Yeah, right.
I think
Blur that out, Chris. I
think,
was just counting with my fingers.
It is a game, but it's also a career, and especially in this business, if you can't win in your division, you get outed. We see that around the league. I think eventually that's what kind of led to Daniel Jones's demise, is that he couldn't win in the division. I don't know. That would be tough because one of you are going to have to be on the way out.
And not
Both
only
of
that,
you can't win.
But whatever, I think I know my children's weaknesses more than anybody else on the face of outside of their mother, right? So if I am coaching against my son, then I have to tell my defensive coordinator, here's how you beat my son. Here's what he can't do. Here's what he doesn't do well. Here's what he doesn't like, right? Because I know those things because I know him intimately. Guess what? There are 30 other teams out there that are going to watch that game and see, oh, he doesn't like those things. Oh, that makes him uncomfortable. And so you're not just affecting him those 2 games. You're affecting him for all of the games. That's going to affect his career. I just wouldn't be willing to do that. And I suspect Deion wouldn't either, because what we've heard from Deion publicly is the only way I want to coach in the NFL is if I get to coach my sons.
Yeah.
That's what he said publicly. Now, he might have a whole different opinion behind the scenes. That's what he said publicly. So to say you're going to go the exact opposite and say, I'm not only not going to coach my son, I'm going to play against him twice a year in the same division, I don't see that happening. As a parent, I can't do that. I wouldn't be able to do that.
Not just that, the only head coach that Shedeur Sanders has ever known is Deion Sanders.
Right.
Going back to little league to high school to college, both colleges, and now he's going to have to play for a different head coach for the first time.
What if, okay, and I'm with you on this, Derek, but real quick, what if Shedeur played another position?
Other than quarterback?
Other than quarterback.
Like, because we're not talking about Shiloh.
I do think it may be a little bit different.
See, that's what I'm saying.
I do think it may be
if he's playing, say he's a left tackle, and you're coaching against your son who's like a all-pro left tackle, that's a different thing to me.
Yeah.
Playing quarterback that's a position that you clearly can affect him, and it affects you. I would hate to, because my son played high school quarterback, and every play I just prayed he got up after every play. I just couldn't, and I couldn't imagine coaching against him and having free rushers hit him, because we created a package that they missed the blitz pickup, and now my son gets just clocked.
And you're encouraging your defensive, you're encouraging your pass rushers, go kill my son. Go destroy it.
Take his head off.
This is what we're gonna do. We're gonna blitz. We're gonna blitz Jordan Lewis as a free rusher and just let him.
Who's to say it couldn't be the other way around? If anything, you're giving information to your son and helping him out secretly.
No, you don't.
No,
do that.
you
can't do that.
But that's also why you don't take the job.
But I'm just saying, like, it could be the other way around. Like, if anything, you're helping him out in 2 games.
If he's not the quarterback, I think differently.
Yeah.
Also, who's to say, well, you're going to be better than they are?
You're probably
you never
not.
know.
I'm
just saying.
That's not even the point. The point is you are actively taking a part in his demise professionally. Like, you are taking part in trying to figure out how to make him less successful. I can't imagine a world where my job would be to figure out, at least for 2 weeks out of the year, how I'm going to make my child less successful.
You're absolutely right about putting out film about him too.
Yeah.
Say you have success getting guys home on him, and now the teams are like, well, this is how you play him. This is his kryptonite. Make him play backwards and send rushers and, all that stuff. So, no, I want no part of that.
Let's go real quick. We got Horace in Atlanta. Horace, what do you think of all this?
How you doing, guys?
What's up, man?
I think that I would definitely coach to win. I would not try and take it easy. I don't mind that the fact that my son would be playing. I think it would be a blessing that both of us would be out there on the field. I would do my best. Now, I would definitely tell my defensive team, look, don't cheap shot my son. You can hit him, but don't cheap shot him. I'll cut your ass.
Gotta go.
But, yeah, definitely.
All right, man. We appreciate the call.
All right. Thank you.
No, I get that it would be a blessing that we're both in. I get all that. Yeah. I would have a very difficult time wanting my kid to be unsuccessful.
To fail.
Ever. Yeah, ever. Yeah. Like, I want them to be as successful as possible, and I would never do anything to contribute to them not being successful.
I agree.
That would be just too difficult for me to do. But, Amber, you do what you do. Everybody gets to have their own kids.
Hey, I see it differently, but that's
fine.
okay. That's fine. Everybody against me today, but that's okay. I can take it. I see it differently. I don't think you should ever do anything to hurt the people you love or anything like that, or screw them over in their career. But I don't see it as something as big as that. I see it as it's a game. You go in, you play, make the best person win, and that's it.
And that is a fair. I think that's a fair way to look at the world. I just think I would have a very difficult time to do it for my kids. Like the relationship that I have with my kids, it would hurt me. It would really hurt me to know that I did something that made them less successful. Because my whole life, their whole life, my whole objective, everything I do has been about their success, their ability to advance, their ability to get opportunities. Like I pour everything. I come to work every day and work so I can send my kid off to college and be able to achieve all the things they want to achieve. Yeah. So if that's been my whole life, I can't imagine a world where I can then flip that and say, in this scenario, I'm actually going to be rooting for them to not be successful. That would be very.
So Deion's not going to be the coach here then.
I would, but hey, Deion may look at it more like Amber. I'm not projecting that onto Deion.
Well,
he may look at it. I wouldn't.
No. I think he looks at it the way you do because he doesn't want to coach against his kid. He wants to be on the same team.
Yeah, I would guess.
Yeah,
but I think it's a lot about the relationship too. Like, let's say if at his home, depending on the kind of conversation, if there's any inclination of, let's say, my child not wanting me to do something or being like 100%. No question about it. Let's end the discussion right here. But if
they told you they didn't want you to do
yeah, absolutely, that 1,000%. But if it's a conversation where, like, it's, let's say the kid is not a big deal or whatever, it's like, oh, let's do it, whatever. And now it's like competition, whatever. Then I don't see the problem with it. I think, like you said, it's obviously a personal decision. Yeah. But if he was to do that, I wouldn't see anything bad or think anything bad against his decision, whichever way.
Right. No, I agree with that. It was more for me a personal thing, and obviously I felt very strongly about it.
Clearly.
But I can't imagine. I just cannot imagine that. And I think Brian kind of agrees with that. And there may be, obviously, there are other parents out there that probably look at it a little differently. And that's okay. I'm not saying it has to be one way or the other. I'm just saying that would be very, very difficult for me. All right, we're going to take our final break. We'll come back. And I guess we will get back into some of these other coaches and talk a little bit about whether we think they will be a fit or what we like best about them and what we think may be the biggest challenges. We'll be back. DallasCowboys.com radio.
If you can't be at the stadium, there's no better way to watch your Cowboys than on an LG OLED Evo TV. That's because everything you see is more lifelike. Every play, every hit. You might as well be on the sidelines. That's how clear it is. It's all thanks to LG's legendary technology. Perfect black, over 8.3 million self-lit pixels. No one comes close. LG OLED Evo is the best TV in the game for a reason. See for yourself at lg.com/OLED Evo.
They say champions are remembered, but legends are never forgotten. United Ag and Turf offers a winning lineup of John Deere equipment built to tackle any challenge on and off the field. Legendary John Deere tractors, combines, residential mowers, commercial mowers, compact construction equipment, Gator utility vehicles, and a full line of golf and sports turf equipment. United Ag and Turf, the official Ag and Turf equipment supplier of the Dallas Cowboys. Visit UnitedAgAndTurf.com to find a location near you.
If you shout, "How about them Cowboys?" you have that undeniable passion that's the heart of Cowboys Nation. And if you like to drink Dr. Pepper, you love the unique blend of its 23 flavors. Together, your one-of-a-kind fandom paired with the one-of-a-kind taste of a delicious ice-cold Dr. Pepper is the game day lineup that can't be beat. Better yet, gather your Cowboys and Dr. Pepper fan friends to watch the next game and crack open a delicious ice-cold Dr. Pepper for everyone. The wins will be even tastier. It's a Pepper thing.
And we're going to overtime.
Erica, how much have I spent on concessions?
For questions about their money, Dallas Cowboys fans can turn to Erica, the virtual financial assistant in the Bank of America mobile banking app. Learn more at bankofamerica.com/Erica by your side. Bank of America, official bank of the Dallas Cowboys. Erica responses may vary. Digital tools featured require downloading the mobile banking app and may only be available on select mobile devices. Erica is a mobile feature only available in the English language. Your chat may be recorded and monitored for quality assurance. Message and data rates and additional terms may apply. Bank of America, N.A., member FDIC.
Todd thought it would be secure to jog in the cheetah savanna. Todd believed the big cat repellent he bought online was reliable. And now, Todd is trying to be faster than this cheetah that can run 80 miles per hour. But the good news is, Todd has AT&T 5G that is fast, reliable, and secure. And he learned the best thing to do is stop running and toss her the backpack with the beef stew. AT&T 5G. Fast, reliable, secure.
5G requires compatible plan and device. 5G may not be available in your area. See att.com/5G for you for details.
Back to the break.
AT&T connecting changes everything.
Welcome back. We are in the final segment of the break, live from the SWBC Mortgage Studios at the Star. Let's continue our evaluation. Let's look at Leslie Frazier. What do you like about the potential hire of a Leslie Frazier? And I want you to think about this from a standpoint of either either a head coach or maybe even as a defensive coordinator. What would you like about him, and what do you think would be a challenge?
I would like the idea as a DC. Looking at 5 of his last 7 seasons as a defensive coordinator that spans his time in Buffalo and the tail end of his time in Tampa Bay, he's had a top 10 total defense. And 3 of his last 4 years in Buffalo, he had a top 2 scoring defense. And that's actually what matters. I think he has the head coaching experience. He's been in the league since 2003 as a coordinator. His overall experience in the league goes back further than that. You'd have skins on the wall. You'd have experience. You'd have a respected voice in that locker room too. I think he would be a hell of a DC hire.
If we were going to hire a former head coach guy, I would have done the Pete Carroll one.
Mm-hmm.
I would have talked to Pete Carroll as absolutely. I think
if we're talking head coach, absolutely.
Yeah, but the thing about with Leslie, you could potentially the defensive coordinator spot seems to work out. Another quiet guy, calm demeanor, has a lot of respect in the league.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's positives with him. That I think the experience. I think that he happened to spend the last year in Seattle with a really dynamic defensive coordinator there. If you start to talk about with their head coach and what all they've done, so maybe he's picked up on some things there. I'm always interested about these coaches, those older coaches that go and work with somebody else and kind of get some ideas of how to attack. So as a defensive coordinator, I'd be more than happy with him having the opportunity to talk with whoever is the head coach here.
I agree. I think he's shown to have the experience, and again, as the defensive coordinator, I don't know if I necessarily would want him as a head coach. And another thing, even though I'm more leaning towards I like the defensive minds better, after what we've seen with the offense here in Dallas, I'm like, okay, is it more important to have somebody with that offensive mindset that knows better how to lead and what to do when time management and when to throw a flag type of stuff, a challenge, or all those things like that to improve this offense in general. But a guy like Frazier, I think potentially he's more likely to land a DC job rather than a head coach.
You know what? If you're gonna hire Kellen or one of these guys, listen. And you guys all know my relation. We all have a relationship with Mike Zimmer. We all know Mike Zimmer, but he seems like the one guy that has a plan for how to play Jane Daniels. You know what I'm saying? I would kind of think about that a little bit.
Yeah.
I would say, listen, this looks like the future of our division is having to deal with this guy every year now, twice a year.
Yeah.
How do you find a way to convince Mike Zimmer to come back on staff and allow him to do the things that he did, say, the last 10 weeks of that season?
Do you think Mike is open to the idea of coming back, or is it a situation where he really wants to just kind of?
I know he wanted. I talked to him. He said he wanted to be the head coach. That's not going to happen.
Yeah.
I really did believe, though, that if Cincinnati Bengals called about their defensive coordinator job, which this Al Golden just got, he was at Notre Dame.
Yeah.
I believe Mike would have gone back. His home in Kentucky is only really 20 minutes away from the facility there in Cincinnati. I think he would have gone back and been real happy. He loved working there. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I wish Jerry and Steven could convince him, but I don't know if his heart's completely into it.
Yeah.
And I think that's where, just, hey, thank you for what you did. You bridged the gap, so it's unfortunate that they didn't have the success early as they did late. I think it might have been a different story here then.
Yeah, I think most fans, at least the fans I've talked to, seem to be okay with the idea of Zimmer coming back and wanting him to come back. Yeah. I just don't know if that's something that Mike would necessarily want.
No, and the thing about it is it's kind of crazy because, Mike and his staff did a really good job. They got Mozzie to play better. They got Oso Digizua to play at a very high level contract year. They got Golston to play at a really high year, effort and all that. He took some rookie dudes, what they did with Overshone and Micah Parsons. I mean, there was they did some good things with those guys.
There's several guys that had career years.
They elevated, and a lot of those guys, it was a contract year. Mm-hmm. They're playing for their jobs, but somebody coached those guys up to be better than they were, and I think you have to give that defensive staff some credit for doing that. Even if none of them come back, tip of the cap for them. We've been waiting for years for Golston and Osa and those guys to play at a really high level. And they achieved that with this coaching staff.
Yep.
And Micah, he recently made comments about it when talking about whether he wanted to have him back or not. And he pointed out with Dan Quinn how it was with him that the first year the defense was good and how much better they were that second year under Dan Quinn. So similar to this of like running it back and seeing what a second year with the same voice and the same type of leadership would be like under Mike Zimmer. And looking again at what he was able to make despite all the injuries that occur during the season and that second half of the season. And I love the fact that he also recognized and talked to the media, pointing out like, I wish I would have started out a lot tougher from the beginning. And he said he was kind of afraid of like coming into this, being new and just stepping on people's toes. And I love hearing when people say those things out loud and voice that over. I'm with you. I don't think he would want to come back, but I would absolutely love to have him back.
I'll tell you something, Jeff Zagina, the defensive line coach, you might have found something there. Because he was remember they interviewed Ron Rivera for the job, and Ron was in Washington. Well, where did they get Jeff Zagina from? They got him from Washington. So probably Ron Rivera talking about, hey, I'll bring this guy along. And all of a sudden the Joneses are like, man, we need to research this guy. And so they did play better across the front. Yeah. And he might have been, nothing against, Aiden Durdee who went and left, but Jeff Zagina got these guys. I would kind of keep him like, hey, listen, just hang in there, because this guy might be the defensive line coach you need. If he could get Mozzie to play better and these other guys to play better, maybe this guy needs to be on the new staff coming in here as well.
And Greg Ellis.
Yeah.
Scanina, from at least my interpretation, was a lot more influential with the interior guys.
Yeah.
So when you talk about Mozzie, Osa, even a little bit of Golston, even though Golston kicked out by the end of the year, and then Ellis more so in. So I would say, see what you can do to bring back both of them.
Yeah.
Yep. Let's talk real quick about Brian Schottenheimer. What do you expect from him, or what do you like about him, and what do you think would be a challenge of hiring him?
Yeah, I think a culture builder. I think that would be the biggest plus for him. I think of all the candidates on the board, he'd probably be the best one in that category. As far as, is he calling plays? That's the question I would have. And if so, just based on his resume, based on the offenses that he's put out, whether it be in Jacksonville as passing game coordinator, OC in his time in Seattle, and some other stops, Rams, I think you would have to have some concerns about the offensive side of the ball, but there would also be a lot of consistency on the offensive side of the ball. I think this would be kind of a situation where him and Dak would build the offense together, and what does that look like at the end of the day? We'll have to figure that out, but I think it's really dependent on who he would hire as a DC or who the front office would hire as a DC.
Yeah, I think the thing about it is I think that I think his enthusiasm is really good. Mm-hmm. And I think sometimes you need, I'm saying you need a rah-rah coach, because rah-rah coaches will get.
He's got good energy, yeah.
Yeah, they'll get you beat too.
He's a good dude.
But his ability to relate to the players and kind of understand what the players go through on a daily basis. He's been here before. He understands the drill. Probably works well with we'll see with the personnel department as far as getting together the players, because we've talked about it a bunch on this show. As a head coach, you do have that ability to affect how they get players here. So I would be, that would be, I think, a good hire here. Now, if you're one of those fans that I said this to you guys earlier, if you're a fan of Dak Prescott and you hate this hire of Schottenheimer, shame on you, because this hire would be about continuity. This would be about keeping things the same way for Dak Prescott and CeeDee Lamb. That's what it's about. So if you hate this hire and you're a fan of Dak, then you're barking up the wrong tree. Because they're trying.
Talk that talk.
Well, no, am I right about it?
No, you're right.
See, that's what I'm saying. You could be a Dak fan and be mad about the hiring, but they're trying to help your guy. Now, you people that don't like Dak Prescott, keep bitching because you could do that.
Right, it's fair.
It's fair. You can keep.
You
bitching.
want to do that? Then
but if you're a fan of Dak, they're trying to make a hire with Brian Schottenheimer that will help Dak Prescott and CeeDee Lamb.
Yeah.
So remember that when you start bitching about that.
Fair. Amber.
Time's up.
Favorite Brian
Time's
rant.
over.
That was my
Show's
favorite
over.
rant I've ever had.
Skip me.
That's just pretty good.
That was pretty good.
All right, here's the deal. We appreciate you guys joining us. We'll be back next week, next Wednesday. We'll see if something breaks. Stay tuned to DallasCowboys.com. We'll keep you abreast of everything that's happening around this coaching search. Till then, for Nick Harris, Bryan Broaddus, and Ambar Garcia, I'm Derek Eagleton. This has been The Break, live on DallasCowboys.com radio.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about this, Cowboys? Yeah!